Welcome to the Daily Meditation. Today I'm going to discuss meditation apps. We'll look at whether they work, whether they're the same as actual meditation, some little secrets about how meditation app manufacturers lie to you in their marketing, and most importantly, why some meditation apps are actually outright dangerous. So let's get started. Do meditation apps work? Well, that largely depends on you and your reasons for wanting to meditate. For instance, if the only thing that you want to get out of meditation is that you just want to relax, then sure, go ahead and download Headspace and download Calm and every other app because they are pretty good at helping you to relax. Most meditation apps involve meditating on your breath and other simple exercises and perhaps positive imagery and things like that. And sure, all of that can help you to relax. However, if you think that meditation apps are the same thing as genuine traditional meditation, then you are sorely wrong. Meditation apps are not at all like genuine meditation. In fact, there was research earlier this year that showed that out of 4,000 meditation apps available for download, only 4 of them actually had anything to do with actual meditation. So why is guided meditation and meditation apps, why is that so different to actual traditional meditation? Well, actually, that's really quite simple. There are 2 reasons and 2 problems with meditation apps. Firstly, they're on your phone, and secondly, when you meditate with a meditation app, you are inevitably focusing partly on the meditation object. So for instance, you might be meditating on your breath and focusing on your breath. But then at the same time, you are also listening to the tutor or the instructor giving you guidance. So that actually is a huge problem, and I'm going to explain why. So traditionally, when we meditate, we focus on one thing, right? If you're meditating on the breath, you're just focusing on the breath. But if you're meditating on the breath and at the same time, you're also listening to somebody in your ear telling you what to do, then your mind is never really still. You're always bouncing around between 2 points of focus. You're focusing on your breath, now you're focusing on the person's voice. You're focusing on your breath, now you're focusing on their voice. And so there's never really any stillness, which is a huge problem because meditation is entirely about having a still mind. The insight and the health benefits that we get from meditation is entirely because we focus the mind on one thing. And you cannot do that if you are also listening to somebody else's voice. Now, I know that in the age of social media, when we're used to having our minds bouncing around all kinds of different things, the idea that you might have to focus on 2 things doesn't seem like that big of a deal. But according to research from Harvard in 2019, when you are also listening to somebody else's voice while meditating, you simply do not get the same benefits as from actual meditation. So, on the one hand, meditation apps work in the sense that, yes, they can be relaxing. However, on the other hand, importantly, they're not genuine meditation. You can't get the same depth or level of insight as you would from traditional meditation, and they don't have the same benefits. So what this means is that if you just want to relax, then sure, go ahead and use a meditation app. However, if you want to learn traditional meditation because you're just interested in learning the actual practice, and especially if you have an actual mental health problem, maybe you're trying to overcome stress, you're trying to overcome anxiety or depression, well, that's a serious situation in which you should practice meditation in a serious way. And a serious way does not include being on the phone. Now, that's a little bit of an overview about why meditation apps do and don't work. However, things are about to get a lot more problematic. So I'm about to tell you, one, how meditation apps lie to you, and two, why some meditation apps are actually outright dangerous for your mental health. So number one, let's get into how meditation apps lie to you. So essentially, 99% of meditation apps tell you that they're based on science, right? And of course, we trust science. I love science. Science is the ultimate way of proving anything to be true or false. However, science gets a little bit murky when money is involved. So basically, what meditation app developers do is this. They pay a research team to prove that their app works. For instance, they might say, hey, we're going to promote this meditation app around the fact that it helps with anxiety, right? So we need some science to say that this thing actually works, so people want to use it. So they go ahead and they get in contact with a research team. And they say, hey, we're willing to pay you some money here to help with our marketing by proving that this meditation app helps with anxiety. So at this point, the research team is really split between two things here. On the one hand, they're research and they want to prove scientifically whether something works or not. But on the second hand, they're being paid money by a client to help said client with their marketing. They need to please their client in order to make their client want to continue to work for them so that they continue to get money. It's the same as any other business. You have to please your customers, you have to please your clients, because they're the ones who pay you, and hey, if they're not happy with you, then you're going to lose money. So what does the research team do? Well, I'll tell you what the research team does. The research team says, hey, there's a ton of different ways in which we can show whether this meditation app helps with anxiety or not. We can test it on this, and this. Because there's a ton of different ways to show scientifically whether anxiety is being decreased or increased. So let's say they have 10 different criteria that they could potentially use to show that this meditation app works. That's 10 things where they could say, hey, this happened because this person used this app, therefore the app helped with anxiety. So what does the research team do? Well, the research team tests for everything. They test for any kind of criteria that could potentially show that this meditation app works. So they test measurement A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, etc. And then they send that back to the marketing team. And the marketing team says, hey, which of these criteria, which of these measurements went in our favor? Did measurement A, measurement B, measurement C, measurement D, etc. go in our favor? And even if there's only 1 out of 100 criteria that shows that this thing worked, that is what the marketing team is going to tell you. Now, what that means is that inevitably, any scientific research that is paid for by a meditation app is inherently biased, and you are only being told the minute percentile of information that shows that this meditation app works. You're not being shown all the ways in which, hey, you know what? Maybe it doesn't actually work. So that's the first thing. Another way in which meditation apps lie to you via science is that, so a lot of meditation research is done on traditional meditation. Traditional meditation without an app. For instance, let's say that a research team has done research on anapanasati, which is mindful breathing. And hey, mindful breathing done without a phone actually works. And the research shows that. So what does the meditation app developer do? They say, oh, we happen to have a recording that is entirely about anapanasati, mindful breathing. So we're going to tell people that our app works based on science because this research about anapanasati was positive. Now, here's the problem with that. The research, and this is true, by the way, for 99% of research into meditation, most of it is done on actual proper meditation without an app. However, that research done without an app does not mean that listening to somebody talking about said meditation in your ear is going to work as well as actually meditating. And so I'm just going to recap. I feel like we've been through a lot of information in this, so I'm just going to recap before I tell you why some meditation apps are actually really frigging dangerous. So here's a recap. Number one, yeah, meditation apps work in the sense that they're relaxing. 2, you probably shouldn't use them to learn actual bona fide meditation. 3, you definitely shouldn't use them if you have any proper serious mental health problem. That's the first part that we covered. The second part that we covered, meditation apps will lie to you because they pay for science that is inherently biased. And 2, they lie to you because they say, hey, this research done on traditional meditation showed that this exercise worked, and we have a video that's about that, so surely we can just kind of, say that our video works because, just sod it, really. So, yeah. But here, just in case you don't think that things have gotten bad enough yet, here is the real kicker. Some meditation apps are actually very dangerous. And I'm going to go ahead and name one specific meditation app that I know that is incredibly dangerous, which is called Tratica. Sorry, Tratica developers, but you did a bad job. So here's the deal with this. And by the way, I'm using this as one example. There are a lot of examples of the same thing. However, so there's this app that's based on the yogic meditation called Tratica. So Tratica is a meditation technique in which you sit in a dark room and focus on the flame of a candle. Now the actual technique works because basically micro movements of the eyes are related to neural activity. When the eyes are still, the mind will be still. So if you focus on a candle and you don't move your eyes, your mind will become still, hence why Tratica works. So there's a meditation app based on this meditation technique that gets you to focus on a dot in the middle of your screen. Now that's not a problem, but the next bit is. While you are focusing on this dot in the middle of the screen, a whole bunch of strobe lighting flashes all around your phone. And this is a health hazard. Why? Because when you're meditating, your brain and your mind get into a hyper-awareness state. And when a hyper-aware mind is put into a situation where it is overly stimulated, for instance, by looking at strobe lights, it massively increases the possibility of having an epileptic seizure, even in people with no history of seizures. Now I know what you're thinking. Why the hell would such a dangerous app be readily available for anyone to download? I'll tell you why. It's because even though the Play Store and the App Store test apps to see whether they will break your phone, they don't test apps to see whether they will break your mind. That's right. Any app developer can put something out saying that it's good for your mental health, and it will be readily available for download. Hence why there are hundreds of app developers who create meditation and other mental health apps, even though they don't have any qualifications in mental health or meditation whatsoever. Does that not seem like a tiny little bit of a problem to you? That there's apps that say that they help with your mental health that are created by software developers who don't really know anything about mental health because, they're friggin' software developers. No disrespect to software developers. Very difficult job and you have to be very intelligent to do it. But it doesn't mean that you know a lot about meditation or mental health now, does it? So, what this all comes down to is that if you actually want to learn meditation properly, or you genuinely want help with your mental health, do not get it off a flipping phone. Buddha didn't meditate with a phone. Thich Nhat Hanh doesn't meditate with a phone. Nobody who has ever been a legitimate meditation expert has ever said that you should meditate on a phone, because you shouldn't. And so that's that. Meditation apps are relaxing, and for everything else, they're basically pants. I'm Paul from the Daily Meditation, private meditation instructor. If you would like to, you may book a meditation lesson with me using the button below. And yes, I know that there's a slight problem with a private meditation teacher dissing a bunch of apps, but I think if we're serious about it, having a qualified meditation teacher actually sitting with you and teaching you is a little bit different to paying for a monthly membership to use a phone. Remember to subscribe and like, and have a very zen-sational day.